Hey everyone, Aneesh here, LinkedIn's Chief Economic Opportunity Officer. And one of the best parts of my job is I get to travel around the world and meet with Chief Talent Officers, Chief People Officers who are the ones, the leaders ushering in this new world of work. And so I'm so grateful to be joined today by Séverine,
Bonjour,
CTO,
Aneesh.
Publicis. I'd love to start, as I always do, with you and your peers, with just your journey to the role that you are in now. How did you end up as CTO?
All right, so it's maybe not a very classical kind of journey because, as you know, Publicis Groupe is a communications group. We're actually number one today. And we provide services such as creative, content, PR, media, data, technology, consultancy. So we have all that broad range of services. And I actually came from the business. My first job was in PR and public affairs. So I started in corporate and PR and public affairs. And I happened to be in Singapore at the point where Publicis was doing a massive acquisitions campaign and trying to really put a footprint in APAC, in Asia Pacific, where we didn't have many agencies. And my first job was to work with the M&A team in really working on all these acquisitions and working in particular on the integration part, how we would integrate all these new local agencies so that we would have a network and not a collection of agencies. So this was my first job. And very clearly, you had to put onboarding programs, training programs, performance management program, which I created from scratch then. And obviously one critical thing was to make sure we had the right people in the right seats, the right positions, and in particular in leadership positions. So very quickly I ended up sort of upgrading all our leadership positions across the Asia Pacific network. And that's how I ended up being the regional HR director. But this was not my initial background. And then whatever I was doing in APAC was noticed in the group. And I was asked to come back to Paris. And this is when I took on first a EMEA job and then a global role.
I would imagine in this moment of big change, because I'm seeing it as a theme, a background that comes from other parts of the business into talent is actually quite helpful.
Yeah.
It gives you a different view. As you've come into the role, what have been the core skills that you've needed? And as you look at the talent function writ large, what are the core skills you think that talent professionals, but especially CTOs, need to be honing right now?
So you're very right that coming from the business gave me an advantage because I think to be really a real true business partner in this job, you really need to understand the business. So business acumen and understanding the details of the business, like our operating model, our expertise, the different types of job, what people are actually doing and what makes them good or not good. So that was very, very useful. But I think, thinking about the future and where we are now, I think the number one skill you really need to master is to be able to navigate complexity and ambiguity and constantly adapt to change. And for that, you need to be very focused. You need to have a lot of resilience, a lot of inner strength, I would say, but also good strategic skills to really partner with your CEO and your business leaders on establishing the right organization and the right model. So really, I would say org design skills, change management, being confident and comfortable driving transformations ongoing are really critical skills you need to master. And these come with your human qualities, like you need to be courageous, you need to be able to take risk and expose yourself, you need to be really resilient, and you need, above all, I think, to bring positive energy into the game because it could be so stressful. Change could be so upsetting and stressful. So you have to bring a lot of energy and show what is positive about it and how it's going to help everybody, every single individual in the organization to perform more, to advance their career, learn, etc. So turn that to a positive benefit to each individual by being very clear, very focused, very resilient, and very courageous.
Yeah, it's a moment where I often say the story matters most because we are in this moment of massive change, and the way human history and the human mind works, the story we tell ourselves often ends up making more likely the reality that emerges. And so when we are operating out of fear and we are bringing energy of fear and telling a story of worse after change, it makes worse more likely. But if we can find our way to, through resilience and through that energy, that positivity of what's possible, it ups the chances of that. We talked earlier about this, but all of this is in the context of AI, which has just arrived as this reset of work. You were sharing some incredible strategies and principles that you've brought to the work of how to integrate AI but be human-centric. Share some of those for companies that maybe are just starting to think about this.
Yeah. So yes, as I was sharing with you earlier, Aneesh, Publicis Groupe has been quite early in the game. And we started to invest in AI much before it was a buzzword. Like 7 years ago, we launched our proprietary internal AI-based platform called Marcel. And that platform built on AI is connecting our 110,000 employees worldwide. Not only is it connecting these employees together, but it's really connecting them to a lot of, obviously, content, learning modules, inspirational pieces, case studies that are supporting them in their day-to-day work with the clients. But it's also giving them access to personalized journeys so that they can really advance their career, they can really own their career, they really have the control over their career, and they can do all of that leveraging AI. We have also built our tools, our proprietary AI tools that are critical to our creative people, but also our media people, our technology people, in a very safe space. We have designed curriculums to train them up on how to use these tools and how to use this tool in a very responsible manner. We have developed that sort of framework of compliance and policies and making them very aware of the legal requirements and how you protect IPs and making sure we do not sell to our clients anything which is not completely protected and IP proof. And so that has been incredibly successful. And I think because we are using Marcel day to day, it has become quite a natural exposure to AI. Of course, we are not yet there, and we are doing more to really train people on becoming AI literate, data literate, and we realize we also need to train them on, driving change, to train them on problem solvings and questioning AI, because you can't take AI for granted, and you have to really consider that AI is a bit like an untrained intern. That you need to question whatever response you get, and you need to make sure it's adapted to what you really need, and it's proven, and etc. So AI has definitely been part of our agenda, and it's central to what we do internally, and it's also central to what we do with our clients and for our clients. And we've developed a lot of tools and connected tools and platforms and systems connected to AI to make our services to our clients even more powerful. So this is very core to what we do.
Well, and I love that the tool is named after the founder.
Yes, so Marcel platform is named after our founder, Marcel Blanchet, who created Publicis pretty much 100 years ago, a century ago. It's 1926. So we're going to celebrate our 100th year next year.
That is amazing.
And we had only 3 CEOs in 100 years.
Wow.
Arthur Sadoun is the current CEO. Before him, Maurice Lévy, and before him, Marcel Blanchet. So a very human story at the core of Publicis.
And to be around that long, it's a story of human innovation, I would imagine, at each chapter of 100 years.
Yes, it's interesting because Marcel was already a very curious individual, and he was always driven by innovation and looking for what's new out there. And at his age, at that time, he went to the US to find out what was new. And Maurice Lévy was, really, really propelled Publicis Groupe into the future. He's been a visionary, really acquiring all the technology, the data, and understanding where we needed to invest to completely transform our business and our capabilities to become relevant, to stay relevant to our clients and help them in the transformation journey. And the company was completely changed and transformed under Maurice Lévy, and Arthur is building on it and adding those next chapter with, AI and technology, and really connecting all our capabilities through technology, connecting creativity, media, data, technology, all that through, our Power of One, what we call our Power of One model, which is based on human and technology. So people and technology, this is what we've got, and this is how we service our clients.
When we were talking earlier, what's driven the business from the start is human ideas, and so that is preserved. When you think about a workforce as big as yours, there's both, as you talked about, the need to upskill on AI, using the tools, knowing how to responsibly use the tools, and then these other core people skills that we've talked about that are going to move to the center of work more, but not, for you all, it's been at the center before. How are you thinking about upskilling, and how is that rolling out? How is that going?
Well, upskilling is it's difficult, because you have to really think about scalable programs, which usually are happening online in Marseille. We do also live programs, like virtual programs, but like in Teams, etc., to really touch everybody across the network. But then you have to also have some relay so you need to work very closely with the local markets to make sure we are landing the planes. We like saying we need to land the plane. So you could have, the altitude and the sort of visionary programs and the sort of horizontal initiatives, but it needs to land in the local culture, in the local markets, and it needs to be owned, adopted by the managers. And that's the real tough, difficult thing to do, to scale whatever program, services, product we have. We have to do it together with the managers and the experts, and making sure people they see the value and they see the case studies and the examples to become to really adopt those new products and services.
I want to build on that, because the managers are sort of the everything right now in getting a company and workforce into this new era. It's partly about the upskilling, but also managers needing to manage differently, not just the tasks of people, but the sort of collaboration of people. How are you thinking about that role of people manager changing, and how are you supporting your people managers through this moment of big change?
So, you are right. Managers and management is absolutely critical, because we are a people business. So we need to have great people managers. We've actually done two things at Publicis Groupe. First, we have created a management program which has two levels, entry manager level and a senior manager level. And this program was created in 2020 during the year of COVID, because we realized we needed to train our managers to learn how to manage team remotely in that very scary moment where people were very anxious, very stressed. They had a lot of mental health issue, and our managers never faced that before, like at that magnitude. So we created that program, and then we realized it was such a good program to have a couple of thousands people around the world connected, on modules and doing some virtual workshops and interacting with each other with their own background, their own culture. It was so rich for everybody. We decided to carry on. But what we've done is every year we are refreshing the content to make it very relevant to the actual challenges the managers are facing. So during COVID, it was like, how do you manage mental health and engagement through virtual teams and remote teams? And right now it's more, how do you you manage people to stay focused and really impactful in that very challenging time where, everything is moving at speed. It's not always very clear, so you have to really move through ambiguity and a lot of complexity. And you also have AI at the corner, and this is creating an additional challenge for our junior employees and in fact, all our employees. So our latest program is more on that, managing ambiguity and complexity, and how do you leverage AI and make it a tool that will equip people with superpower rather than a threat. So that's our latest program. So that's the first thing we are doing. The second thing we are doing is we've launched a very modern way to capture how people are feeling, rather than doing like a big annual employee survey where you have, like 100 questions and you try and feel the pulse of your organization. We created a program called Moments That Matter. And we are actually sending mini surveys that are personalized and targeting specific individuals in moments that matter to them. So, for example, if you are a new starter, you have a survey. If you are being promoted, you have a survey. If you move across markets, you have a survey. If you are a woman and you go on maternity leave, you have a survey when you come back, because we want to make sure you are fine and everything is fine. If you, we have also, our summer surveys, our annual year surveys, so mental health surveys. So we are capturing, we have all this data that we are capturing around the world that really tells us about how our people are feeling and how they are being managed. And we are really, really tracking what's going on. And when we see a red flag somewhere, we intervene and we correct it. And it's usually a management red flag. Or it could be like a specific workload and a team, being at the verge of burnout. So we have all these red flags that we really, really focus on because it's, that's how you make sure you have proper management.
Well, and human energy is going to be so key to managing all the change. And we were talking earlier about this line. I heard that the change will never be as slow as it is now. How on the burnout part, pandemic, obviously, everyone was thinking about it and talking about it. I think we're talking about resilience and adaptability, but a lot of that is going to come with the risk of burnout too, for every level, from the C-suite down to the first line worker. So how are you thinking about burnout right now as a organization-wide concern?
So, well, first of all, we are doing a lot of preventive action. So, again, during the COVID time, we signed a global partnership with Thrive Global, the Ariana Huffington, platform and company, and we do a lot of preventions, a lot of, we are live and online, programs to help our people identify the level of stress, manage the sleep, manage the anxiety, and it's about health, mind, body, and soul. And you have a lot of content in that program. We have also trained our managers. That's another thing which is on the manager side, really, we have trained them to identify initial signs of burnout. So the very initial signs of burnout, and we are not, it's not always just, successful, to be honest. It's difficult, but we have managed to intervene at the right time to really limit those burnouts. But it's also about, making sure we have a positive workplace every day, and the work is properly distributed, and you provide clarity to your team, and you create a safe space for people to come and express themselves when they have an issue. So all this is coming together. It's not just a mental health. It's management, mental health, a positive culture. To your point, trying to bring energy to people and every day. So that's really what we are doing. On the topic of health, I just want to mention here something we've launched 3 years ago. It's a program called Working with Cancer, which we are very proud about, because we launched that program, which has become a global program and a global charter, which companies are signing for, which, because our CEO, Arthur Sadoun, was treated from cancer, and he realized that the one thing people were really scared about when they were going for their treatment was to lose their job. And so he said, we have to do something about that. So when he came back and being completely treated, he said, I want to launch a movement, a program called Working with Cancer, where we would commit to protecting people when they are sick and treating themselves. We would protect their salary for a minimum of 1 year, even if they don't come to work at all, everywhere in the world, including in places where you don't have a great health system or you're not necessarily covered. So you maintain your salary for a year, and we also coach the family members who are taking care of the people who are sick. We are also, giving them connections to some medical system and specialists, and we got most of our clients and partners have signed for that program, so they are taking it internally as well and implementing it. So as a result of that, we have millions of people who are protected while being sick today, and that's something that means a lot, to our people. I mean, it sends a really great signal about the fact that we really care.
Yes.
We really care about our people, and we care about people are real people. They are individuals in life before being individuals at work.
That they're humans at work, not just
They are
employees.
humans at work,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
My last question is just you personally, because you are leading from the front. You all are doing all the right things, I would say earlier than most organizations as I've traveled the world. How do you every day stay resilient, positive-minded, innovating? Where's your energy coming from day to day? For other chief talent officers out there, any advice on how to get into the rhythm that you've gotten into to keep leading from the front?
Well, I think, first I think I heritate this from my mom. And I have that sort of belief in life and positive energy. I don't get stuck into problems. I'm really focusing on solutions all the time. I'd like to get things done. I don't like things to be untouched or, I think I like to move on, get things done. I think you just have to shred your skin all the time, forget about your frustrations or something that you didn't like in the past and just move on. Because that's really, really important, and to keep that sort of positive mindset that you just move on and focus on the right things, the positive things, people you like working with, the project you are proud of. You will always have some levels of frustrations in any kind of job or organization. There are things you love doing, things you don't like doing particularly, but you just have to consider this is a package and focus on the positive, things that makes you feel energized. And that's my first thing. The second thing, which is a very much like a decision, a mental decision that to focus on positive.
That's right.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
The second thing is I am very careful about my balance, and I make sure I sleep enough. I make sure I don't drink too much. I make sure I exercise, a minimum number of hours per week. And the more you become a senior executive, the more you are conscious about, like it's a proper discipline that you have to do every day to stay really balanced. Because if you are not balanced, you are becoming aggressive, you're becoming nervous, you're becoming unpleasant to people. And I think when you have a team, when you're a senior talent officer, you need to show the example, and you need to be positive and engaging and inspiring. So, I'm not sure whether this has any value to anyone, but that's what I'm doing.
Deep life lessons, and I'm grateful for you, your leadership. What's your mother's name?
Aneesh.
I'm grateful to her for instilling those habits in you, because I think you're fortunate to have had a role model around that idea of focus on what you can control. The obstacle is the way, problem solve. It's one of the ways early childhood education is starting to shift to give all younger humans a chance to have that.
No,
Thank
absolutely.
You.
I mean, I've been a very lucky child in a happy family. So, yes. Well, it's been a pleasure, Aneesh,
thank you so much.
speaking to you. And you've been very inspiring as well. And what LinkedIn is doing is great. And we love partnering with LinkedIn.
Well, and us with all of you. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Aneesh.